Angered by Sioux's attacks on miners in the Black Hills and their refusal to sell the American government the Black Hills, which are full of gold, the US government orders the army to attack any Sioux that are not gone onto the reservation. Terry leads a force that's hunting for Sitting Bull's band. He leads one from the east. Gibbons has been coming searching from the west, and Crook with his force are coming up from the south. Terry and Gibbon meet at the head by the Yellowstone River, and they agree that on the 26th of June they will attack Sitting Bull's camp. They want to send a message down to Crook and to link up with him so they can lead an attack from the south. Crow scouts have told Terry that it's not a very big band here, maybe about 800 warriors at most. Terry asks for a volunteer to go and link up with Crook, and it was General Custer, leading his 7th Cavalry, who volunteers. He thinks he might be up for a nomination for the Democratic candidacy at the next presidential election, so he's looking to show his bravery. And so Terry asks him if he needs any extra soldiers. He can offer him 180 extra troops. And Custer says, no, I have my 7th Cavalry, more troops will just hold me up. Terry also offers Custer a Gatling gun, one of the early machine guns, to lead the attack from the south. And Custer says, no, that will just hold us up. We want to move quickly. And so off Custer goes, and he travels through the Wolf Mountains down to meet up with Crook. Now, he marches his 7th Cavalry for 2 days and nights, and they're absolutely exhausted. But one of the Crow scouts they have finds an ancient pass through the mountains, which he said will be a bit of a shortcut. And they take this and cross the mountains there. Meanwhile, Crook is coming up from Fort Fetterman to the south, and he is, and as his soldiers stopped by a little creek known as Rosebud Creek, a force of Sioux warriors led by Crazy Horse attack. Now, Crazy Horse's troops are armed with fast-firing Winchester rifles, which they traded with white people, whereas the US Army only have bolt-action Springfield rifles, taken by surprise, completely outgunned. Even though Crook's column holds out all day, they realise that they can go no further, and they turn and they go back to Fort Fetterman. And Crazy Horse returns to the main Sioux camp, absolutely triumphant. Custer, his troops, having marched for two days, are absolutely exhausted. And even though it's the middle of the night, they ask Custer if they could just stop, light some fires, get warm, make themselves some coffee. And Custer agrees. And so they sit down and they start making their fires. But in the distance, the Sioux camp can see these fires on the hillside, and they've lost the element of surprise. As morning dawns, on the 25th of June, not on the 26th, as agreed with Terry, Custer sees the camp. He knows that every time he's attacked the Sioux before, they've just run away. They don't want to lose men, a very valuable natural resource. So he is keen to attack as soon as possible. He thinks it will be an easy victory, catch them by surprise, and he'll be able to kill as many of them as possible. And so he devises a plan. He decides to split his force up into 3 different units. He will lead one unit that will sneak behind these bluffs and go around here and attack the Sioux as they flee this way. Reno will attack the Sioux village head on, whilst Benteen will see if he can find Crook, and if not, will rejoin the attack. So, morning of the 25th of June, Reno launches his head-on charge into the Sioux camp. But remember, Crazy Horse, Sitting Bull, knows that he's coming. So Sitting Bull leads a charge with his troops out from the village, and there is brutal fighting. Meanwhile, Custer is making his way round the bluffs, hoping to catch any Sioux who are fleeing. By this time, Benteen has returned and is helping Reno fight off Crazy Horse here. As Custer goes around the bluffs, he's spotted by some people in the Sioux village, and a Sioux force led by Sitting Bull goes to head them off. Outnumbered, Custer knows he is in trouble, and they began to head for the high ground. Meanwhile, Reno and Benteen are pushed back by Crazy Horse, and they need to take cover behind bluffs. Now, Custer manages to get a message to Reno and Benteen, asking them for help. Now, some historians suggest that Reno and Benteen were actually so pinned down by Crazy Horse's troops, warriors, that he couldn't have helped him. Others suggest that Benteen particularly never particularly liked Custer, found him arrogant, very difficult to work with, and so was reluctant to actually risk his life to go and help him. Whatever the story, Reno and Benteen do not go and help Custer. So Custer and his soldiers are overrun by Sitting Bull and are massacred. When Sitting Bull realises the extent of their victory, he realises that there will be retributions. So even though Crazy Horse had not completely destroyed Reno and Benteen's troops, they decided it's time to pitch camp and head off quickly. 26th of June, as had been organised, Terry's force charged into the valley, and all they find are dead corpses and exhausted Reno and exhausted Benteen. Custer had been completely annihilated. The news didn't reach the east coast of America until the 4th of July 1876, the 100th anniversary of American independence.